Have you been trying to get started in multifamily investing in your backyard, where you live, but you're not making any progress?
Today we're going to talk about how to expand your reach and expand your markets to cash flow areas so that you can get out of being stuck and get into action and building your real estate portfolio.
Boom! If you haven't subscribed already, click the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get notified every week when we drop a new video.
Most new investors start their real estate investing careers looking for properties in the market where they live. But what if you don't live in a market where the prices and the rents go together to create cash flow? Statistically speaking, chances are you don't.
We're gonna free your mind, Neo. Just like in the Matrix, where you get the opportunity to look at a red pill or a blue pill, like we're gonna pass you the purple pill today, and we're gonna show you a strategy that'll blow your mind and show you different ways to get unstuck and into action. It's called remote investing. So in order for you to know whether or not you're in a cash flow market, you have to know how to assess that, right? So how do you even know? Well, there's this thing called the 1% rule. And it's not something that you're gonna use to dive into a deal, but it's a good rule of thumb where if you wanna find out if you're in a cash flow market or what a cash flow market looks like, you take the purchase price of the property and 1% of that would be what you'd be able to rent it out for, right? So when we're in San Diego, on a $700,000 property, 1% of that would be $7,000. So on a $700,000 property, the rents would need to be $7,000. Well, nobody's gonna do that. So that's not a cash flow market. In fact, that's why we didn't invest in San Diego when we were living there. We looked elsewhere in the Midwest. So if you think about a duplex for about 150 grand, well, 1% of that would be 1,500 bucks. And you could probably rent out each side for $750. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
So that's right, with the 1% rule. Now, the one thing I want you guys to know, a lot of new investors make the mistake. That just helps you identify if are you even in a cash flow market. You're not gonna go and buy a property just because it meets the 1% rule.
Are you sure?
Okay.
Didn't you do that in Detroit?
Well, I mean, in hindsight, you're not gonna do that because yes, I did that. I did that actually lots of times, which is how I know. Don't do that.
When I say 1% rule and you're like, oh cool, I'm in a 1% rule market, let me buy this. No, that's just to let you know whether or not to get properties coming to you to analyze.
That's right. You actually, once you're looking at a deal, you actually have to look at the real expenses to make sure it really and truly does cash flow. Okay, so next question is, how do you know where to invest? Okay, so if you've determined that the market you live in does not meet the 1% rule, you're like, okay, cool. So what I know is I need to find another market. So you have to do market research. There's 3 things that we look at, and I'm gonna cover them very briefly because we literally have full master classes on this topic. But there's 3 things you wanna look at to know, is this a market that would make sense? One is the 1% rule. So quickly looking at prices and rents, like, does this even make sense? The second thing that we're looking at is the population growth. So you wanna see, for one, that the population is not declining. So you're gonna go to Google and type in population in whatever city it is. And Google is gonna give you a graph that shows what has been the population trend over the last 10 or 20 years. So you'll be able to see it's gonna do one of 3 things. The population is either gonna be increasing over time, decreasing over time, or staying steady. You wanna make sure that when you're choosing a market that at a minimum, that the population is at least staying steady and ideally it's growing. So the last thing you wanna do is be investing in a market where the population is getting smaller and smaller year over year because there's gonna be the same number of rental units, but now fewer people to fill them. You wanna look for a market where the population is steady or growing. The third thing that you're looking at is the job growth. How is the job growth doing over time? Has it been steadily increasing? Has it been steady? Or has it been declining? For the same reason that you don't want a declining population, you don't want to have an area where the job growth has been declining because now people don't have as much money or there's fewer jobs, people might start moving out, etc. So 3 things, 1% rule, population growth, and job growth.
It's okay. I have a question because a lot of people, when we first mention remote investing and look outside and here's the criteria and do the things, like people literally cross their eyes and they get confused.
What?
What are you talking about? No, I've got to see it and touch it and go there, right? What do you think is the biggest mindset issue that people struggle with when they first try to wrap their mind around remote investing?
I know 100% that it is literally just a mindset shift. And actually, I'll point to one of our recent case studies for one of our students, Denise, who was already investing where she lived in New Jersey, but frankly, in New Jersey, the numbers don't work. So she had to learn how to do it somewhere else. And she basically said in her case study, I did not know how to go from seeing it, touching it, feeling it, smelling it, licking it, hugging it, doing all the things.
She licked it?
Well, I mean, hopefully not.
Oh, okay.
But you know, just like she just wants to be there.
She licked it, then it's hers.
Here's the best way I want to explain. If you are, let's say your roof needs to be fixed on the house you live in, are you going to go outside your door and be like, I need a roofer? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to open up your laptop and start searching for roofers using one of the different websites to do that. So the big mindset shift, and I think what people get hung up on is because you always do things in person, and that really is the main way anyone ever talks about it, it doesn't occur to most people that you don't need to see it, touch it. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, yes, but we live in the internet age now. So everything you need to find, even if it is where you live, so what difference does it make if you're there or not? You have a laptop, you have a cell phone, boom. So it's just a mindset shift to realizing you don't have to physically be there to project manage something to getting done.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is too, is that people feel an element of I need to control it, and I can control it by being there and touching it and seeing it physically. And the truth of the matter is that that's a self-limiting belief, because you don't actually need to control it that way. You can lead the project. And it just takes a different set of skills. And I think that's hard for folks to wrap their mind around, right? When we talk about this stuff, when we talk about remote investing, like, what comes up for you? Right? Comment below and let us know your thoughts, and maybe we can help you break through that self-limiting belief. So let's talk about how to get started. There are a few steps. So here's the cycle of remote investing. First thing you're gonna do is choose a market. We already kind of walked through exactly how to do that and what to look for. The next thing is deal flow. You want to get deal flow coming in, because as soon as you get deal flow coming in, you're going to be able to make offers and stuff. But the deal flow happens remotely. Laptop, Wi-Fi connection, cell phone, that's all you really need. Building a team, general contractor, property manager, realtors, brokers, inspectors, all of those things, they can also be done with a laptop, internet, cell phone. Making offers, same thing. Laptop, internet, cell phone. I think there's a theme here, right? And then once you're making an offer, let's say it gets accepted, then you're gonna go into due diligence. You can do all of your due diligence from a laptop with your Wi-Fi and with a cell phone. Then you're gonna close, and literally you're gonna have this up here with your little closed property. You're gonna be so happy. And guess what? You can also close remotely. You can do whatever you want, wherever you want, using this cycle. So that's literally the whole cycle of our remote investing process.
So I know that it's a big hurdle mentally to get over for people, but once you do, literally the sky's the limit. So let me challenge you with this. Let's just say that you decided to invest in another market and something happened and you're like, oh no, I gotta go fly there and handle it. Do you really? Like, what are some of the things that come up? Okay, you need to get your property rented. You need to get it rehab, or you need to get the plumber out there. Well, first of all, you're not doing any of those things. You have professionals that are on the ground, boots on the ground, who you've hired to handle those things. But what if they're not doing the job? And that's what a lot of new investors get stuck on. I'm gonna have to go fly out there and handle it. You're absolutely not, and let me tell you why. As a professional project manager, which is effectively what you become when you become a real estate investor who invests remotely, you are gonna learn how to lead a team. And there is nothing that you can't do by getting on your computer and making a couple of phone calls and hiring someone to handle it for you. For example, let's say that my contractor is being non-responsive and I need to get some pictures of the property to give to my lender, and I can't get a hold of my contractor. Am I gonna fly out? I'm gonna get a last minute flight cross country. Okay, that's gonna be buco bucks. I'm gonna have to get a rental car and a hotel and food. Oh yeah, by the way, I have 4 kids at home. How am I supposed to do that? It is not feasible. So it forces you to recognize there's a better way. The reality is you can call a property manager, a realtor, another contractor, a home inspector, any of the team that you've built on the ground, and be like, look, can I pay you 50 bucks? Can I pay you 100 bucks to go handle this XYZ issue for me? And when you start to recognize that, you literally, sky's the limit. You can invest anywhere. And Jen and I, at this point, now we're invested, I realize we're at 17 markets now. We were 14 as a couple months ago. We have 3 new markets in the last 3 months. So we have invested in 17 different markets, and we have literally never, in the history of our investing, we have never flown to and gone to any of our properties to handle any issue.
Did I want to? Once.
There's always gonna be time where you're like, oh, I just wanna go handle it. But then logic has to set in. It's just time and money. It's not realistic. And chances are when emotions calm down, you can hire someone to go handle it, which is basically what you did and what you can do too.
If you do want to get into multifamily real estate investing, but you're not sure what's the first step, the second, or the third, you can click the link in the description below, and a member of our team will hop on the phone with you and talk about your goals, your resources, and how we can hold your hand and get you to where you want to be.
The other thing we want to tell you is that we have a free Facebook group. It's called Multifamily Real Estate Investing. So if you want to be around people that are like you on the journey, looking to learn, come join us in that Facebook group. We do tons of free education and content there. And every week, Jen and I make ourselves available for a question and answer session. It's live, it's in Zoom, we're face to face. You gotta come to the Facebook group, register, go to events, and then we'll see you there. But any questions you have about real estate, we're there to answer them for you.
And if you want to learn more about this entire process, we did an entire masterclass on remote investing. So check out that video and we'll see you next week.